This video is brought to you by Patterson Car Care. Get double of premium original detail product for half the price. Head over to pattersoncarcare.com or go to the link in the description below.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a Camaro RS, not the SS. This is actually the V6 model that a lot of people overlook because they just go after the SS for obvious reasons. But the RS was the same era as the V6 Mustang coming out with the 3.7. So Chevy said, well, we got to do that too now. We can't just have a dog for a V6 either. So they came up with this 3.6 liter V6 that has a much more traditional look to it. I'm going to be making a comparison essentially to the Cyclone engine, which is the V6 3.7 in the Mustang, because it's pretty much the easiest thing to compare. The V6 in the Mustang, the intake manifold, it has this weird curve to it and it kind of overhangs over the engine block. This, you pop the hood and it literally looks like a V8 with two less cylinders. That's pretty much it. The sound of the car is very similar. The power band is similar. They both make over 300 horsepower. This one is actually modified. So what's really neat about this is that it has E85, a port intake manifold, cat delete, exhaust, what have you. So it's essentially taking the V6 and making it, you know, something different. Horsepower wise, what do you think we're making? Well, we're making basically high 200 horsepower or 300 wheel horsepower. I mean, that's pretty amazing. 10 years ago, if you said your V6 Camaro made 300 wheel horsepower, people would say you're lying. And it's not like the old catfish Camaros, which are just dogs if you don't have the LS in it, right? I will say though, every time I drive a Camaro, I say it all the time, the one thing about the Camaro I don't like is the visibility. There's not a lot of visibility. It's a tight compartment, kind of claustrophobic. It's definitely not for everybody. But I mean, for example, when you have second gear and it's a little rainy outside, yeah, it actually didn't spin. I'm actually surprised. Traction control kicked on for a second, caught us, and we kept going. All right, let's try that again. Go. Yeah, it's like, it's so weird hearing this sound come out of the bow tie right here. Because when you see this logo, you associate it with a V8 LS. It actually is really confidence inspiring. The turn in is really good. All right, 40 roll, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Hey. Still not there. I couldn't make it because I'm coming up on a corner. Let's talk about the Camaro in general. I don't like the new one, the new one. I think it's ugly with its little mustache they had to take off. Other than that, the Camaro right before then, the 16 to 18, that's my favorite one. This one is very similar to it. It's very close to it. And you can tell that the shape of the body is about the same. The only thing that's majorly different appearance-wise is the headlights, the grille, and the taillights. And a lot of people make the joke that the taillights look like a 5th gen Prelude, which I can totally see. I've always wondered what the RS Camaro is like, because they have really good bottom end. They accelerate pretty hard, but I've never really had the chance to experience one. I've driven multiple V6 Mustangs, so this will be my first ever V6 Camaro. I have noticed though that the interior of the dash is very similar to the first Camaro that came out in 2010. I'm not saying first Camaro in general, just the newer rendition of the Camaro. The gauges look about the same, the dash looks about the same, materials are about the same. The steering wheel is actually very similar to the Chevy Cruze I drove yesterday, but GM has always been known to take parts from other vehicles all the time and put them in everything because it's cheaper to do it that way. This V6 actually doesn't sound too bad. not defined really by anything. Will it hook in first? Probably not. What? Are you serious? How in the world is that possible? It's raining outside. Oh yeah, also one more thing, the car is ceramic coated. So here in the rain today is a perfect example of showing it not having pretty much any dirt on it or anything. It's pretty amazing. Well, I'm confused. I was expecting me having to put inputs in the steering and catching it side to side. Nope. I think it benefits that it has less torque than the SS in the rain. This car in the rain is actually really good. I'm really surprised. Handling wise, it's on stock suspension, believe it or not, and plasti dipped wheels, which you're gonna be like, why did he plasti dip them? Well, he's had a ton of practice and they actually look very nice. It's when you do it wrong, don't have any experience, that's when they look like trash and they start peeling really bad. But the clutch catches at the very, very top. Brakes are really good. The Camaro and GM, they really know how to have brakes in their cars. All their Corvettes, the Camaros, the new ZL1 has huge brake calipers, and the RS, when it came out, a lot of people were against it. They're like, why would you ever buy one of those? But not everybody can afford the SS, and at the same time, it's good to have some horsepower. You're not just driving another rental car. This motor in this gearing works beautifully together because it actually has the rear end gearing from the Chevy SS. You know, AKA what used to pretty much be the Holden or a G8, anything along those lines. The Chevy SS was a sleeper, but it did not sell very well. But that's the beauty of Chevy parts. They're extremely interchangeable, and you can just build it like a Lego set. Yeah, so this is a more rev-happy engine than the LS is. The LS pretty much goes to 6,800, and it's done, even though it's making power every bit in that 6,800 RPM. And this feels very, very planted around corners, even though it's wet outside. I've been in third this entire time. It's a magic gear with this thing. So the red line to this thing is 7,600 RPM. This thing handles really good. I'm impressed. I still have more RPM left, and we're using the shorter gear set in it. Third gear is long. It just goes, it goes, it goes. Second gear, you have a lot of room to play in, really. Third is just like, am I gonna make it? Is it worth the money to save up for the SS? In my opinion, yes, still. However, I don't think people should shy away from this thing thinking it's the bad one. I really don't, because on this mountain road, I'm having a grand old time. I can tell you what, because the turn-in is fantastic. I feel like I have no weight up front whatsoever. The shifter, even though it has a very squishy-like feeling to it, it's not bad. As you can see back there, I went into each gear, no problem. I knew when I was in gear. The only problem with a squishier feeling shifter is when you don't know when you're in gear or not. The Camaro does have a really nice solid feeling of just notchiness at the very end of the shift. So here's the thing. If somebody were to ask me, hey listen, I can't afford the V8 Mustang and I can't afford the V8 Camaro, do I still go for a V6, and which V6 do I choose? I will say I think that the Camaro handles better. I think the Camaro has a better steering input. I think it inspires me to go around corners faster. Interior wise, I love the S550. I can't knock it really because I love how spacious it is and the visibility is better. In my opinion, it just depends on what you're looking for. It's a preference thing. The motors feel about the same. The motors themselves feel about the same. But yeah, I would not want to drive this car if it had long factory gear ratio in the back. I feel like this thing would be an absolute dog if it didn't have the shorter gears. Changing to a shorter gear almost in any platform will transform a car, like exponentially. It'll feel faster. It'll be more fun to drive and you'll have more control. But if you're going for like a big boost setup, that's typically when you do longer gears. That way you can ramp up to the power. But if you're in a V6 and a Camaro, dude, shorten those gears up. It changes everything. It really does feel good. Also, another thing is that this car has baffles in it. So it has a quiet and a loud mode. Above 3,000 RPM, it'll open up the valves. But we're in constantly open mode right now. Now we're gonna go to quiet mode. Just like that, completely different car. Another thing too is that the V6s and the Mustang and the Camaro are now phased out for the most part. The Camaro has a, you know, an Ecotec like 4-cylinder in it now, and Ford has their EcoBoost. So the V6 version of these cars are getting more rare by the second, and you never really see them. I mean, you never will see them in the future. I think it's going to be a very interesting legacy having the V6 Mustang and Camaro around, period. Because even though a lot of people don't like a 4-cylinder in their muscle car, it's just what people are doing now. It makes more sense, they're more economical. On that note, what do you guys think about the V6 RS Camaro? Put it in the comment section below. Fight till you don't want to fight anymore. I want to hear all about it. And I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye!